Today we're flying from Denver to Manila on a series of flights that we booked through United Airlines. The first two legs are on United aircraft, but the third is on a Star Alliance partner. As a family of four with United's premier 1K status, we're going to show you what the international travel experience is like in 2024.
Just waiting on that lift. We had to get the kids up at 5, Phil and I up a little bit earlier than that, but early travel day, huh? It's 5:25, so they got up 25 minutes ago.
What time are you waking? Like 2:30?
Yeah, we've had some pretty early mornings. This is not the worst, but I get so excited before trips that I have a hard time sleeping the night before, so I'm running on empty already.
And technically we don't have a Lyft, we have an Uber coming. I'm not a big fan of Uber, honestly, because they've screwed us over so many times. But with our American Express card, we get like some reimbursement, some freebies with it, so I use it anyway. Hopefully they show up today without fail, because we are on a pretty tight schedule this morning. Hopefully we have enough room.
A 20-minute drive from our house, and things are a little different at Denver Airport. We get dropped off downstairs, so this is the level of the security. Actually, that's not even true. I told you, things are different. I think we have to go upstairs, not just to check our bags, but to also go through security. I'm a little nervous for taking the escalator. Colt has 2 bags. We've got 5 bags total. Phil, of course, has to hold the camera, but he's making it work. We have to have extra bags because we're going straight to our new apartment, and we've got a lot of stuff, like household items, a ton more clothes. I mean, about half of our clothes at least, maybe more that I brought. Oh yeah, and Colt had to take one of his giant squishmallows. 2 giant squishmallows.
A squishmallow is like if you could take Fleece and Heaven and put it into one plushie. And I have 9 of them. One of them is a 4-foot frog.
Going to Manila. This is actually our return flight to Manila because I found a little travel hack. It has been much, much more affordable to travel from Manila round trip than it was when I looked up flights Denver round trip.
Okay, I think this one's over 50 pounds.
So you're gonna have to take 1 pound out.
All right, we're gonna have to do some rearranging because we need to get rid of 1 pound.
Splashy.
Okay, 68 pounds. Easy. All I had to do was move my huge mouthwash from one bag to another. Some things are hard to find in Manila. That's one of them. When you're a 1K flyer, you get 3 bags checked for free on United Airlines. So we could actually take, just between the 4 of us, 12 bags. We only have 5, but this is still the most we've ever taken on any trip.
Actually, Platinum and Silver can also have up to 3 bags, and Platinum is what the kids are. Phil and I are the only ones that qualified this past year. And you can have up to 70 pounds per bag, so that's a lot of weight. Let's do this! We're gonna get through security. Like I said, it's different, not just in a different place, but they've spoofed it up. The technology that they're using to go through security is a lot better. This way, bud.
Oh, we have to go.
So we gotta go all the way down here because Phil and I have clear and pre-check, which is really convenient because we're totally hands-free when we go through the airport. We just use our eyes to scan for our identification, and then we don't have to take off our shoes or get our computers out of our bag when we go through the security, and that's for the TSA pre-check side.
You guys don't have pre-check on your boarding passes?
Why would that be? Not even mine?
Yeah.
Well, we have to go back to the counter because pre-check is not on our tickets, our electronic tickets or the printed tickets that we got. So double check. It's a reminder for you that if you have pre-check, it has to say it on the ticket. And it is easier, I think, for the entire itinerary if we go back and have them change it.
This used to happen to us on a regular basis with United, but it hasn't happened in a while. Like, I want to say not in a year. There's really no excuse for this, United. You know, it's like We are 1K flyers. This is on all of our profiles. Anytime we book a ticket, it should automatically be on there. So we'll get it squared away here. I don't know what's going on.
So we don't have pre-check on our ticket.
Did you have all the numbers?
All fixed, thank you so much. And that was all Phil's fault. So just one person in our party didn't have the right number for some reason, wasn't entered in there, and jammed it up. But this is take 2 going through security.
When Aaron says it was my fault, it's not actually my fault. It's probably the United person you spoke to on the phone who had all of our information screwed up. But it's been working fine for the past 2 or 3 years, so definitely not my fault.
Time to put the camera away while we go through security. They have the new conveyor belt system for it. It's actually much more streamlined and I think faster, but this whole airport has been under construction for many, many years. I have no idea if the security being up here next to the gates, which is pretty convenient, if that's temporary or not, because it's still under construction down there where the security used to be. So they might be just moving it down there. I have no idea. I'm sure we'll find out in 5 years when it's done.
What is happening down there? They just wiped it out.
Exactly, it's all under construction still.
Watch your step.
Denver has 3 terminals, A, B, and C. We're almost always in B. You're right. Phil corrected me. Denver has 3 concourses, A, B, and C. We're almost always in B with United. United is DIA's biggest carrier. They take up 47% of the flights here. 31 by B, so to the right.
That really is the primary reason that we're so United loyal, because if we were in a different airport, say LAX, where Delta is the primary airline, we'd probably be flying on Delta. But because Denver's our hub, United is our airline. And speaking of United, we're gonna find the United Lounge here. It's a new one, it's really fancy, multi-level. Interestingly, even if you're a 1K flyer like us, or a family of 1K flyers, you don't get automatic access to the United clubs. It costs money. We use our Chase credit card. It's the United Club Infinite something or other credit card. It's one of our favorites, and that's how we get access to these clubs. We also have the American Express Platinum card, which we use to get into Centurion lounges. Just depends on which concourse we're in or which airport we're at as to which one of those we use. This one's gonna be most convenient today, so as long as they're open, 6:30 a.m. I don't know if they're even open until 7.
I was thinking that they open at like 5 a.m., but I don't know the situation because the United Lounges have also been under construction, and I don't think all 3 are ready yet. We might be at the wrong side. 25, okay. So only 2 of the clubs are open right now and done with their construction. So it's on the other side of the B concourse or in concourse A. But it's right next to Starbucks, so we're gonna be Starbucks customers today. I got some egg white bites, gonna get my tummy comfortable before we get on the flight. But comfort is probably our main priority when we have long travel days like this. I mean, we're gonna be traveling for about 24 hours, so we want the most comfortable clothes too.
And the outfits that Aaron and I are wearing today are provided by Unbound Merino. They're the sponsor for this episode. And I gotta tell you, these are pretty incredible items of clothing. I'm blown away by the fact that this is wool. My memory of wool as a kid was that it was a hot and a heavy and a very, very scratchy material. This couldn't be softer. It feels a lot like cotton, but way, way better. This merino wool is a miracle fabric.
Let me tell you about this wool. It can absorb 1/3 of its weight in moisture, which means it wicks sweat away from your body and holds sweat away from your body so that it can evaporate. That makes it totally temperature regulating, which makes it perfect for traveling.
Not only is the wool itself completely sustainable and natural, of course, because it just comes from sheep who are regrowing that wool every single year, but it's also naturally coated in lanolin, which is anti-mold, antimicrobial, anti-mildew. You can literally wear this outfit for weeks without washing. Isn't that crazy?
It smells like a shirt.
I wouldn't recommend that, but if you need to, you can. If you had to travel for a whole week, these are the clothes you want. We're gonna be traveling for a whole day, and we're really excited to be in them. I have to say that Phil's pants especially, because his shirt and his pants are both from Unbound Merino, and this dress, of course, is from them, but his pants look good.
Yeah, and they're perfect for this sort of thing because they're a little bit stretchy, which is great. We're not gonna get upgraded to lie flat seats today, Having that little bit of stretchiness to the pants is awesome on travel days because it's way more comfortable whatever kind of seat you're in, whether it's economy or you've got lie flat seats and you're actually sleeping under a blanket. This kind of thing is way more comfy than wearing jeans, suit pants, or anything else like that.
And we're not the kind of people who are gonna wear actual pajamas on the flight, but we wanna be as comfortable as if we are. You can shop yourself by using the link in the description. We're gonna put it to some good travel use because we're boarding now. Let's get on the plane. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. This is just the first of 3 flights you're gonna have on this journey. Our first stop is gonna be LAX.
I've mentioned in our episodes before how I like to really form or design my entire wardrobe around very versatile clothing, and this is perfect for that because they're understated colors, they're very timeless styles, and you'll notice there's not a single logo on here. So if you want to wear it for an entire week or 2 or 3, you totally could do that because no one's going to really notice the difference because everything's so understated.
United Flight 293 headed to Los Angeles.
It's a 2.5-hour flight. I'll see you in LA, which is the perfect amount of time for me to work on my anime.
Our 1K status is coming in handy. We just got an upgrade, and it actually looks like we have another one. So 2 upgrades. I think we're gonna get a double upgrade. Maybe you, Colt, do you want it?
I'm okay with whatever.
Love that about him. And we got 2 kids gone. There's so much more room now that the kids are up in first class. So we'll see you in LA.
All right, LAX. We're only here for about an hour, waiting for our next flight. We came in gate 70, and we've got to get over to 77, so it's actually really close. Hopefully I have time to get something to eat because I haven't had a single bite yet. It's 9:15 a.m. here, 10:15 our time, Denver, basically. So I'm getting a little bit hungry.
We're probably gonna have to wake up the kids as we get off the flight. I'm glad that we put them in the first class seats because they had more room to sleep because they just conked out right away and been snoozing the whole time. Just as I predicted, they were still sleeping when we walked up.
I woke up and I wanted to sleep, but I had to pack.
You guys all ready?
Thank you, bye.
I just want to make sure everybody has their backpack.
Now, the primary reason that anybody wants to actually gain status on an airline, of course, is for the upgrades. There are a few other benefits that you can get along the way. I don't think that any of them are really worthwhile compared to the upgrade. So in addition to the first class upgrades that we just got for 2 seats, I should note that all 4 of us were already automatically upgraded to Economy Plus. And the reason for that is
United offers that to all of their MileagePlus member status, whatever tier you're on, from silver all the way to 1K.
all right, the kids found a bookstore, so of course we're gonna stop.
There are 3 ways to get an upgrade. 1, you can pay for them. 2, you can use miles. And 3, you can use something called plus points. And that's something you gain with your status. I believe that once you get to platinum, they give you 40 plus points, which doesn't get you too far. Not when you're flying internationally. But then when you make 1K, you get an additional 280 plus points per person who makes 1K. So between Phil and I, we got enough.
So this flight out, when we were all in Economy Plus, we didn't have to pay anything extra for any of that. And then the 2 upgrades that we got, we didn't have to pay anything. We didn't use miles, we didn't use plus points. That was just complimentary, which is something that we commonly run into on domestic flights. But the rules are completely different for international flights.
And those are the flights we want to be as comfortable as possible because they are the longest. This one we're about to take now is about 12 hours. And we used our miles to get those upgrades. I'll explain that strategy in a second. It just dawned upon me, it's kind of ironic that Brooklyn is stopping in this bookstore. She always stops in every airport bookstore because she wants to buy mangas. But we're actually flying to Tokyo, so she's probably gonna find a ton of mangas in the bookstores there. And we have about 10 minutes till we board, so we should probably get to the gate. She's still got her book anyway. So this flight to Tokyo, we're gonna be seating in Premium Plus, which we call the purple seats. It's kind of like first class for domestic flights because you get a little bit more room, you get to lean back a little bit more, but they're not lie flat seats. You still get a much better meal, an upgraded service, and some amenities like the little kits and the blankets. We'll show you all that on the flight. But I used our miles to do that because it was only 30,000 miles per person to upgrade us, and then we're guaranteed that upgrade on the spot. I'm reserving our plus points for when we go from San Francisco to Manila and one straight nonstop, and we really want the lie flats for that. So we are on the upgrade list to be in Polaris, and we're pretty high up on the list because of our status. Because when you buy a ticket, there are a few things that go into where you're going to be on the upgrade list. And number one is your status. Then they list it based on your fare class, on what ticket you bought. So the more expensive your ticket, the higher the fare class it's going to be.
Taking a quick pre-flight bathroom break for Brooklyn, we should mention a couple of the other benefits that you get with 1K status. Number one is you get priority boarding. And if you fly United, you probably already know that they'll do, typically it's going to be like seniors, those who need extra assistance getting on the plane first. You're going to have anybody who's traveling with kids 2 and younger. You're going to have military, very high up on the list. Then global services, and then 1K.
They already called pre-boarding, so we got to jam to the gate. Let's see, 77, where are we? 75, 76.
We're right there, Mom.
I don't even see. Oh.
Please have your passports in hand. You'll look in our devices. Get a green check mark to get aboard the aircraft.
20A.
You're welcome on board.
Makes it much more roomier, much more comfortable to get the long haul flights over with. Some of the things we get are this Saks Fifth Avenue pillow. We get a blanket, much better than the thin ones that you get in economy and even economy plus. And you also get little amenities. Ooh, socks. I love it when we get socks. I always use those. An eye mask. Some face therapy, skincare stuff, so like a mist to keep your skin moisturized, some hand cream, usually a chapstick, which I need because it's so dry in Denver, and some earplugs and tissue. Most importantly, we have a toothbrush and a little teeny tiny toothpaste in there.
When it comes to the entertainment system, it's really, really upgraded in Premium Plus. Number one, you get some real headphones that actually work. So they block out a little bit of the noise that you get from the engines and flying so you can actually hear the movie. That's key. And then the screen with basically bottomless movies. This looks like a 12-inch screen to me, which isn't the biggest in the industry, but it's certainly better than what you'd have in economy.
You also get this pop-out remote control, so you can be hands-free and you don't have to touch the screen. Now let's talk about how you gain status throughout the year, because that can be challenging sometimes. To get to 1K status, you need to accrue 2 different things, and that is PQF, Premier Qualifying Flights, and PQP, which is Premier Qualifying Points. And the PQP really is the amount of dollars you're spending on your fare ticket, your ticket fare. I don't know which one. And to reach 1K, you need to fly on 54 flight legs. So if you have a connection and 2 flights, that's 2 PQF. Now this flight, we're flying on 3, and even though our third is on All Nippon Airlines, we still get that point for our flight because we booked through the United app and because it's a Star Alliance partner. We also need to get 18,000 PQP. So think about that. You have to spend $18,000 on flight tickets to get to that. Now Phil has a trick to speed that up for you.
This goes back to the same credit card that I was talking about that gets us access to the United clubs. Another thing that it does is allow me to generate more PQP for my account. Now, unfortunately, because the card's in my name, it doesn't extend to Aaron or either one of the kids. That's only for me. So I end up at the end of the year now with way more PQP than I actually need, but based on the new minimums that are required for 1K status, I'm having a bit of a challenge making the PQFs on an annual basis. So last year, I came up about 4 flights short, and at the very end of the year, I had to fly down to Florida to see my brother, and I had to take a 2-leg flight there and back just so I could get those flights and remain in 1K status. Aaron, on the other hand, had a little bit of a problem with PQPs for the year.
And I didn't have any issues getting the number of flights required because I go visit my dad and my friends so often. But there is another way that you can accelerate your PQPs, and that is you can actually purchase accelerators, which we don't want to do. We want to make this work with as little money as possible, because that's the idea, right? United also gives you a few booster points at the beginning of the year. Last year, they gave you 3,000 PQPs to just give you a start, a little boost. And this year, it was only 1,200. So we don't have as much help as we usually have in the past.
I have to say, the clothing very, very comfortable so far. So kudos to Unbound Marina. Now, like I said, the primary reason that anybody wants to have status at all is going to be for the upgrade. So I think a lot of people would wonder how often that happens, especially for a family of 4 in 2024. And I will say that I think on domestic flights, we probably get upgraded to first class maybe 1 out of every 3 flights. That's kind of a weird metric anyway, because it's not really based on a percentage. It totally depends on what flights you're on. So if we take a flight from Denver to LAX, for example, it's typically going to be more challenging for us to get an upgrade than if we're taking a flight from, say, Denver to Indianapolis. It depends on the number of business travelers or the number of other high-status flyers on the flight, for example, and just how busy or full the flight is to begin with.
And then when we do use our plus points to get on the upgrade list for Polaris flights, on those super long overnight flights, I would say it's well into the 90 percentile that we get those upgrades. I think there's only one that we've been on the list that didn't make.
Well, I think the kids are settled into their seats. They each have window seats, 1 row up and all the way on the ends here. So we've got pretty good line of sight for both of them. We're going to get settled in, pick our movies, and we'll see you in Tokyo.
"12 hours later, we're at Narita Airport in Japan. I am exhausted. It is 2:23 in the afternoon here, but we have not slept, and that's kind of my strategy, is to not sleep, because we're going to arrive in Manila in the evening, and I'm thinking I'm just going to be so tired, I'll crash, and then I'll get on schedule right away."
It's raining here, very rainy.
Oh, I gotta pick this up. Sorry.
It's so cold here. Somebody stole my sweatshirt.
Someone also gave someone their sweatshirt.
That's true. Now we want to find that United Lounge, because we have almost a 3-hour layover, and we want to get some food. I think the United Lounge is all the way down this way.
So there's something that I've only been seeing in Tokyo, Japan, or everywhere in Japan, like Kyoto and stuff like that. It's where you have ice cream in a little pouch. Super cool. I kind of want to try it. I don't have cash. It only takes cash, I think. It takes Visa. Never mind. We're good. And it's only 180 yen. That's like $1. Maybe like 90 cents. That one's great. It's not doing anything when I tap it, so I think they're out. Maybe we'll find another one on the way, though.
Brooklyn wants me to carry her backpack, and it weighs a ton. What do you have in here?
In my backpack, I have about like 10 mangas, a computer, an iPad, like 5 anime figures, a blanket, 3 of those like charger things, 1 giant block, my phone, some AirPods, and yeah, that's all.
I love sushi. This is making me really crave it. And I heard that Narita is really well known for their sushi and their fish markets especially. So when we come back to Tokyo, if we fly in here again, then I want to go to Narita, explore all the sushi here.
See it. Behold, ice cream in a pouch. I'm gonna tap this.
I have no idea how this works.
Let's do it.
I don't know. We give up. What? Yes, please.
What do you want to buy?
This, the coolish.
Number 3. Buy credit card?
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, it's so cold. I can see it. It needs a second to warm up.
Meanwhile, we found our way to the United Lounge by gate 31.
It's just vanilla ice cream in a pouch. It's much better in a pouch though. It's just a perfect flavor when you can just eat it without eating it with like a metal spoon, and all you have to do is squeeze it. And I learned that first, you have to like warm it up by squeezing it all over, and then it's super easy to get it out. It's way better.
I'm really excited to get my charging station set up, because I've been working on that last flight, and my computer's out of battery, my phone's almost dead, my watch is dead.
All in all, we don't prefer the United clubs over the Centurion lounges, but they do tend to be more convenient for us in most airports, because they're going to be closer to the gates that we're traveling out of, because we're flying United and it's a United club. Centurion lounges are a little bit more rare, and they tend to be in different concourses, so a lot of times we have to travel. So it depends on how long our layovers are as a general rule as to which one we're going to pick. But Centurion lounges, in our experience, have far superior food, atmosphere, and that sort of thing. The United clubs are just a little bit more basic, but they always get the job done. It's nice to have some high-speed Wi-Fi that you can actually trust and be able to get some essentially free food, drinks, no additional costs beyond what you're already paying for the membership itself. All right, where are you guys gonna go?
I don't know. We're
just gonna walk around, look at some stores.
They're off. They're going to explore a little bit. They love going to the shops, and of course, they're addicted to getting souvenirs and knickknacks and stuff.
Now let's talk about some specific numbers from today's actual trip. Miles first. So Aaron and I both got about 9,300 miles total for the round trip. So double the legs that we're doing today, of course. And that is 6 PQF, Premier Qualifying Flights, which means, of course, that we are getting a PQF for the next leg that we have right now with ANA, which isn't even United, but it's Star Alliance. And we're each getting 845 PQP, Premier Qualifying Points, from those. What's interesting is that it's different for Brooklyn and Colt. Now, again, they are Premier Platinum this year. They didn't make 1K again last year. Aaron and I are 1K. So that could make some difference in terms of the miles, but they're both the same status, and yet they have very different numbers for today, and we can't quite figure out why. So Brooklyn has about 7,600 miles for this trip. Colt only has a little over 6,000. So his PQPs for the entire trip are 675, whereas Brooklyn's 845. We went up to the United counter to ask them why that would be, and they don't even know. They suggested that maybe it's because Colt's 11, so there would be a difference there because Brooklyn's older and we might be considered an adult, but that doesn't make any sense because we paid the same amount for the tickets and that's what it should be. So if you have any idea, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, we'll try to get an answer and then add that in later or post that to our channel later.
Keep in mind that we're actually going to get a little bit more PQP than what we see already because we used our miles. We used 30,000 per person to upgrade to the Premium Plus seats. And those will actually, a portion of those will come back to us in the form of PQPs. Jet lag is kicking in pretty hard. Let me see what time it is in Denver. It's after midnight in Denver. That's really late for us, so I feel like a zombie. I'm gonna try and get a little editing done. I'm actually editing this episode as we're going along today so I can get it out as fast as possible. And then we have a little bit more time before we head to our gate for our next flight. Oh, I see the kids. They're back from shopping.
I got this, but I need decoration for my room, so I got it.
What is it?
It's like a figure, but you like make it yourself. You're supposed to like take it, like you're supposed to like connect those pieces together and make it yourself.
I got a couple of things. I got this, and then I got this thing.
Look at that, time flies. It's time for us to board. We have our last flight to go. Since this is a partner airline and not United, we don't have the same pre-boarding benefits, so we are boarding group 2 for this one. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
How many for 4?
4 best.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Hello.
We're all sitting together, we're in row 41, but we didn't get to pick our seats. We didn't get to choose them at all. They were assigned to us eventually, and so that is something to keep in mind. When we're typically booking routes, I look for United flights all the way through because we get the most out of it, and it's easier to get those upgrades in United only. But the most important thing on every flight is that you get to your destination, and we are almost there. Manila, here we come. We just have 5 more hours left. But we are zombies, so there's really no point in us trying to continue on filming. We are gonna sign off here and say thank you so much for tuning in, watching us. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. We love your likes, we love your comments, and we can't wait to see you in the next episode.
Quick pre-flight birthday break for Brooklyn.
Birthday break?
I knew I was gonna f that up.